Hey everyone, this is Mike. Guess where I am? Cherry Blossom, Japan 2020. I'm here on top of a slight hill that overlooks part of this Kyoto-Nabe area. In a lot of the cities, the big cities like Tokyo and Osaka, the governors have told people not to go out to ohanami. It doesn't necessarily mean the viewing, although they did say please stay put in your home. But it's mainly about the ohanami. You know, ohanami is sakura viewing. It's when people, they bring their mats, they lay them out, they bring their little lunch, bento, drinks, beer, osake, and they have a party basically. It's a good reason for a party. So when they do that, because they're close to one another, I guess that with the COVID-19 scare and the germs could be spread, so they've asked people not to really do ohanami. Now you see a lot of people out in the cities, not a lot, but a few still going out to see the cherry blossoms. About 2 weeks ago, at that time, tourists weren't coming in, and I thought, wow, this might be a good time to go to Kyoto City to go and see some of the cherry blossom viewing spots, because when the tourists are here, it's just so overcrowded that I don't even try to go. But since they've been much stricter, especially the governor of Kyoto has also said he wants people to stay put in their home, I thought I'd just come out to one of the local areas out here by my my apartment in Kyoto-Nabe. And it's beautiful, and there's no people, so it really is nice. I'm sitting here on the top. There's a little not temple, but a little shrine, I guess, here, and on top it sits on top of this hill, and there are cherry blossoms all around, and the sun is out, and it's just beautiful. The petals are starting to fall. It's a very romantic time, I think. It's this whole idea of Ichi Ichi, life, so bright, so brief. These cherry blossoms that bloom, they bloom for about 10 to 12 days, but really people are trying to see the cherry blossoms when it's at mankai. Mankai means full bloom, and that's when you want to catch it. So the odds on catching mankai 2 to 3 days in the year is quite difficult, because the calendar is also always changing. So a lot of people who come from outside, non-Japanese overseas people, it's really a hit or miss. And so it is really hard. You can catch the beginning or maybe the tail end, but it's really difficult to catch mankai. As you might be able to see behind me, a lot of the petals are starting to fall. So this is the end of mankai already. And this is already where, so bright, so brief, it's ending. Even if I didn't go into Kyoto City, I went to Kyoto-Nabe City, or Kyoto-Nabe Town more like, and I saw a lot of the cherry blossoms there. And then yesterday and the day before, I went out here it's called Idecho, which is probably one of the best kept secrets of Japan. It's kind of out of the way, hard to get to, and not many people know about it. But for me, it's one of the most beautiful areas, and especially when there's no people, and the roads just line the river, and you can go down to the river bank, which I like, so you can be down on the ground as people can walk on the side. It's really one of my favorite places, and I got a few good shots, I thought, but it's just the idea of being sitting within the cherry blossoms, and knowing that this is it. It's going to be gone in the next couple of days. In regards to social distancing here in Kyoto-Nabe, I'm about 40 minutes outside of Kyoto City, way out in the country among the rice fields. There's very few people around, outside of maybe like the supermarket or Hewado. So social distancing is very easy and natural. Even here, I'm on this top of this little hill. There's these two ladies that hiked up, and there was another two elder couple that came up to see the cherry blossoms. But outside of that, it's just me. And like the last 2 days, I went to Idecho, which is the bigger area here, right across the river. And I came at 6:30 in the morning to see the sunrise. I was a little late, but 2 days ago, and there was nobody there. It was like I was king, and this was my kingdom of cherry blossoms. It was amazing that I was the only one there looking at the cherry blossoms. Eventually, some older people who were going for their morning walk came around, but outside of that, it was just me. Yesterday, I went in closer to the late afternoon to try and catch the sunset. And it was a Saturday, people were walking up and down, and walking down the riverbanks. But again, it's very few people. You don't have to talk or be even close to anyone. So wearing a mask or not is not really that big a deal when you're outside like this. But there is a mask shortage, and now I want to wear a mask because before I wasn't a believer in a mask, and I didn't like the mask, and it was hot and uncomfortable, and if you're not used to, when I was on the ship, I really didn't like the mask. And that was the first time ever last year, SWI 31, the ship 31, I had to wear a mask because of the influenza, and I really didn't like it, and this year we had to wear it again. But and I never was a believer because there wasn't any real scientific data that showed that masks actually help you, prevent you from getting sick. But recently in some of the YouTube videos, especially the one I saw from the Korean professor, I think his name was Kim Woo-ju, I can't exactly remember, and he said that masks do help, and he's like one of the leading authorities on the infectious diseases. It does help for the COVID-19 virus, and so I became more of a believer. And also what is happening now is, since almost everyone is wearing a mask, I become more self-conscious that I want to wear a mask because I don't want to be standing out and people staring at me. And Japanese have that word, shiroi me de mirareru, means like people are looking at you through white eyes. I don't know what the white eyes are, but basically it means that people are like looking at you like because you aren't doing something that you're supposed to. So I feel that people are looking at me like, why aren't you wearing a mask? And so I feel like now I want to wear a mask just to be more incognito, but there are no masks. And so what I did yesterday is I went to Daiso, and because before that I went on YouTube, I saw how you make a mask with a bandana. I went to Daiso, got the bandana, got the ponytail bands, and brought it home and tried to make my own. Now the ponytail bands were too tight, so it was making my ear really sore, so I changed for rubber bands, and I think if I get a larger rubber band it would work. The smaller one did work, but when I put it on I kind of look like a bank robber, but so I think it still would really stand out. The problem is for me in Japan is that in Japan everybody has the professional ones, the ones that are bought, are nicely, are new, or are from the store. So if I go in with one of those bank robbery looking like type bandanas, where in the United States it'd be fine because everybody wants to be original and there's not enough masks, so they just want you to put anything over your mouth and nose. But in Japan everybody is very meticulous as far as following what everybody's doing and doing the so-called right thing, appropriate thing, and that's that you use a bought mask. And so I would definitely stand out. And so the question is, should I still wear the bank robbery type, stagecoach robbery type, maybe I should say. It's like in the old cowboy movies, the stagecoach robbers, and that would attract attention, or not go with a mask. And so right now that's my dilemma, which I should do. Now there is a shortage in Japan, so a lot of younger Japanese and housewives especially are sewing and making their own masks, and also some are donating, and but again they're very nice and professional and really look really good. So my homemade bandana rubber band YouTube mask would probably not be able to would still attract a lot of attention. People would still probably look at me strangely, but I don't know what else to do because there are no masks. I wish I had kept a couple from the ship just to use when I go out, because most of the time I'm either in the apartment, or if I'm riding the bicycle, or I'm like out here, I don't need a mask. It's only when I go into like marketing in the supermarket. This morning I was watching one of those shows that they do, like the political commentary, and they bring on the guests, and Governor Koike was on. And so basically what is happening is, of course, Governor Koike would like Prime Minister Abe to take more of a national approach and maybe close down or shut down Tokyo, or maybe other big cities, or maybe the entire nation. But right now Abe doesn't want to do that because he's trying to thread the needle between keeping the government and the businesses open, at the same time trying to lessen the people who have contracted COVID-19. And every day it's gone up. I think yesterday it was 118 people, and that was the highest ever in Japan. And I think in the next couple of days they're going to hit 1,000. I think they're somewhere around 860 something now. So Governor Koike would like some action from the Prime Minister, but Prime Minister Abe is still balking because I think he's trying to thread that needle. It's very interesting. It's kind of like an experiment, kind of a big gamble, but he's trying to do both. I think in Sweden also they're doing something similar, different, but it's again, Sweden is the only, I think, country in Scandinavia and maybe one of the few in Europe that have not done a complete lockdown or shutdown. And they're trying to, have the citizens of the country just obey the rules, and hopefully they can keep the COVID-19 from spreading. So Japan and Sweden are actually really interesting experiments. It's just that it's a very big gamble. So we'll see what happens. But right now, that's where it is. There's a strong connection, or there's something very poetic. There's a poetic lesson here, I guess, with what's going on with the COVID-19 virus and the cherry blossoms. It's metaphorical, but it's like a metaphor, like so bright, so brief. And the COVID-19 virus is teaching us that how our lives could just be one day great and the next day turn upside down. It could completely just pull the legs out of you. You could have a job, you could have everything going for you, and then the next day it's all gone. And it's about the idea of the fragility of life in general, and how we need to appreciate and have more gratitude and count our blessings for what we have, instead of always living in the future or living in the past, that we have to live in the now. And that's why that expression, Ichigo Ichie, to you only get that one moment in time. It's just like I only have this one moment in time, so when the cherry blossoms come out, I try to go out every day to see them, because I know it's only going to be for those 2 or 3 days until the following year. And every year is different too, how they bloom and when they bloom. And I think this teaches us a lot about not only appreciation, gratitude, but that we have to be kind and good to people. You see a lot of both sides that come out during this crisis. You see some of the Asian American hate crimes. You see people getting angry and fighting over toilet paper. You see a really dark side of human nature. And then on another part, you see really people doing great things. Like I saw in Italy, they were like feeding people who didn't have food, or in different areas, people are taking food to people who don't have, or sharing. So you see good and bad. I hope people will have time to reflect, and people will in this next few weeks or months, to really think about really what is the meaning of life. Is it getting your new car, or making your first $1 million, or getting a job that pays you so much money, or maybe it's family time together with your family and friends, time to go out and see the cherry blossoms. It's not only about work. Once we get into that hustle and bustle of daily life, whether you're married or have kids, or your job is so demanding, life just kind of happens, and before you know it, time has gone by. I see it with my parents. I thought, my parents now are both in a care home, and I wonder, I should have invested more time before. Maybe that's why I try to, invest a lot now when I go back and see them, because I always felt that I should have done more when I was younger. I think we always have that kind of regret. But should have, would have, could have don't count. You either did or you didn't. And so now's the time, if you have the opportunity to do it, whether it's spend more time with your family or friends, or writing that book, or learning about how to make masks, or being a YouTuber, or doing whatever you want, starting that new business. COVID-19 is really, it levels the playing field. It basically now puts everybody at a very similar level. Of course, you need food, and you need money to live, and but it has neutralized a lot of things, and this will change the way we live after it's finished. And I hope that we all come out much better and more positive and more grateful and more appreciative after COVID-19. It's easy to say when we're going through it that, oh yeah, we're going to do more, we're going to be more appreciative, I'm going to spend more time with my mom and dad, or whatever you say. But it's about action, not about words. Talk is cheap. You got to walk the talk. So we'll see what happens. And everybody, it's just their own thing. Nobody is looking or judging or saying. It's whether you decide to do it or not. I hope all of you are safe and you folks are well. Please stay healthy. Please enjoy these moments. Think of this as a pause on your life, where maybe especially if you're working from home or staying home, that you wouldn't have had this time to, whether you have kids and teach or work with your kids, or have more time with them, or your partner. I mean, I'm sure the reverse also is happening too, where you're getting very frustrated and ira. But think of this really as a pause, that you are being given a block of time, weeks, maybe months, that you can do all the things that you always wanted to do. People always talk about, I'm going to write the great book or the great novel. Well, maybe now's the time. Or I'm going to start making YouTube videos. Well, maybe now's the time. It can be, anything. I'm going to go visit, well, you can't really visit friends, but if you're living with your mom and dad, spend more time with them, playing games with them, talking to them, interviewing them, finding about their life and what they did, because a lot of times the children don't know very much about the parents' history. So if we look at our lives, whether it's 60 to 90 years, it's very, very short, and it's very, very quick. Before you know it, it's gone. And so use this COVID-19 as a time to reflect, and a reason to reflect, and to be able to think about what really is important in our lives, and what should we really be doing. How can we be more positive, or more grateful, or more appreciative, and how can we take action in our lives about things that we've always wanted to do. How do we live with no regrets? I think it is, because when it's all said and done, when you're on your dying bed, and I see this with my parents in the care home with other people, is that you don't ever want to have regrets when it's all said and done. You have a lot of small regrets, maybe just a few, but you don't ever want to have large regrets. And if you do have those regrets now, and you're still young enough to do something about it, then now's the time to not have, or to not have any more regrets. And that's how I think we need to start to think about this special time that COVID-19 gave us, not by choice. It's a pause in life for us to reflect, and to be able to attempt or do things that we have never been able to do, because we always said we're too busy. Oh, the work is too busy, or I got to take the kids here or there, or I got to take care of my parents, or whatever it is. Now everything's kind of on shutdown. Some cities and countries are locked down, which means that you have no choice, but you can do, as long as you can do it within your space. If you were talking about, I'm going to be an NBA basketball player, and you need to go and practice with people, then that doesn't work. But maybe you could play by yourself if you had a basketball court. But again, it's all about, life is not that hard. Life is tough, and life sometimes is unfair, but it's very, very basic about being happy and living the best life you can within your means, and being nice to people. What's so hard about that? That's what's really hard for me to see, especially what's going on in the United States, and how divided it is right now. And why is it so hard? And that's what's really disappointing to me. It seems like in the United States, it's really gone down the dark path, and it's sad. So I hope that all of our good energy can push us back onto a more reasonable path on both sides. But it's sad. So take care. Enjoy your time off if you have that time off, and if you're working from home, enjoy that time with your family or children or dogs or cats or whoever you're home with, or yourself, like myself, just home alone, and make use of that time. Because you don't ever want to regret, maybe in 3 months you said, wow, I had 3 months and I didn't do what I should have. The could have, would have, should have don't count when it's all said and done. Either you did or you didn't. And the other thing is that when it's all said and done and when you're old and you're dying, it's not going to be about how much money you made or the cars you had or the houses you bought. It's going to be about your memories. Will you have good memories to take and leave when it's your time to go? That's all it is. It's all about memories. So hopefully you'll have a chance to make more memories, good memories from now on. Maybe in this time period, if you can, just do it, right? Anyway, this is Mike signing off from Kyoto Nabe, overlooking the beautiful Kyoto Nabe. I don't think it's called valley, but the Kyoto Nabe Valley, and surrounded by beautiful, beautiful cherry trees, which are now losing their petals in the wind. And again, that's the sign that it's so bright, so brief, and it's all coming to a close. But if you look at it from a different perspective, when the blossoms all fall and there's nothing left, green leaves then come to replace the blossoms. So you can look at it, the end of the blossoms is the beginning of a new life or a new birth or a new spring when the leaves come on, and all these trees then become all green by summer with leaves. So, even though it's so bright, so brief, and it's beautiful, but then it does become green and there's a sense of rebirth and growth. Anyway, take care. Mike Matsuno signing off here from Kyoto Nabe in Kyoto Prefecture, Japan. Ichi go, Ichi e.